How's it going, everyone? It's Alex with Acflips. I'm a full-time six-figure Amazon seller, and today I have Bill Flipper on the channel. We are going to answer some Q&A questions that I pulled on my Instagram. Hopefully, answer any beginner questions that any beginner sellers have. Bill, thanks for joining me. You want to intro who you are and how long you've been selling on Amazon, stuff like that?
Hey, I'm Bill Flipper. I've been selling since 2017. I did the last 12 months, 570,000 in sales. So mid six figure, whatever you want to call that. And I have a YouTube channel and I try to put out lots of content where we do online sourcing and we talk about my journey from here and the pitfalls and the growth and how you too can become a full-time Amazon seller.
Awesome. So it sounds like we both have plenty of knowledge to give, and some of these questions are going to be geared towards the mistakes we made at the beginning of our Amazon selling journey. So hopefully you guys get a lot of value out of this, but let's jump right into the questions. Okay, so first question, Bill, I'll ask you, how do you become more confident in your inventory purchases?
I got one answer there, and that's practice. There is no way you can do it without you're going to use Keepa, and you're going to have to make some test buys, and you'll get better and better at reading Keepa charts. And the way you're going to get better and better is one, buying, and two, consuming a ton of content. Whether that's Alex's channel, my channel, or there's tons of other free stuff. You're going to look at Keepa, you're going to do some test buys, and as you practice and progress and make great buys and bad buys, you will get much better at feeling confident in what's going to sell.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's just a level of, you have to be doing it long enough and seeing enough different looking Keepa charts to understand, or to be able to recognize what was bad in the past, what should be good in the future. And it's always, an adaptation. Like even, you and me, I'm sure there's certain purchases where we're not going to go 100 deep off the start because we know that, maybe our confidence isn't quite there. We haven't seen that chart enough to know going deep right away. I still do test buys every once in a while, even though I've been selling for over 2 years, but it definitely doesn't hurt to do some of these test buys, get an understanding of that product, and then build that confidence over time. Like you said, you just got to do practice, and then that confidence will slowly come over time.
Yeah. Charts can look, there's about 100 different way charts can look with seller rank, with a sales rank, without sales rank. It's really easy to get caught up in I'm making 100% ROI, but you didn't, as a new seller may get caught up in not looking a month back where it was break even, or not looking for it. Wow, Amazon goes out of stock every 3 months and I'm coming right up on 3 months. And those pitfalls happen and you got to roll with the punches. And when, really quick, with SellerAmp and Keepa, you're going to have I call it multiple pieces of the puzzle. And I do not go by the SellerAmp count. I do not go by the Keepa drops. I do not go by the data tab in Keepa. I take it all together to make the puzzle. And that's the only way you can do this is enough up at bats and tries. You got to keep trying. And when you get there, and for a beginner, I always tell them you have to consume hours of content. If you're driving in the car, if you're sourcing, keep consuming content. I still consume it. And I still learn something new almost every video where I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or, oh, yeah, that kicks in. And the only way you do that is you just continue. It's an ever learning process.
Yep. I tell people you should spend, out of the time you have allotted for sourcing, I spend 80% of my time doing and 20% of my time on education or learning.
Sure.
Usually you get the confidence built up that way by continuously learning, but then also doing it yourself in practice.
Yeah. And really no beginner should go really deep on anything. That's my opinion, because if you're starting low, I always say, listen, books to RA to OA. That's my opinion. People can disagree on that, but I always want to conserve their bankroll on inventory. Less. I would say you basically only need Keepa, and then just use the trial subscriptions. Really, Inventory Labs is almost a necessity, but I say it is a necessity. But when you're really starting, finding out if you really like it, you may not want to go that route or get the trial first. But you don't want to spend a quarter of your stuff and then it's break even or less, because those test buys are going to help you not make those really mistakes, because you're not going to have the confidence. That's my opinion. Again, but over time, as you do the test buys, as you see it, as you see the different charts, and you're going to get that confidence.
I agree. Totally agree. All right. So the next question that came up was, can you explain how to look at variations? Still don't know which ones to buy.
Two answers. Let's start with the sneaker one. Let's go with the sneaker one, just as an example, and then we'll switch to a vitamin one really quick. The obvious answer is reviews. The one with the most reviews, if it's got, let's say it sells 100 a month, if we see one listing has 8% of the reviews, we can assume it's getting 8% of the sales, it's selling 8 a month. What I'm going to do then is confirm with the data tab in Keepa and try to see people going out of stock, and that says around 8 or something. It could be off. Then the other answer is just kind of like common sense. The black size 10 is going to sell a lot better than the orange size 15, but
Yeah.
we always see the orange size 15 going for 80% off. Well, that's because no one's buying it. And that's my opinion. You can still sometimes, I've sold size 15 shoes, but it has to be like a sub 5K, and there's just so much velocity on that listing. There is some giant is going to come across and buy those size 15, but most listing it's not. So the easiest answer is the review count, and then across the sales. You could use Jungle Scout if you're if SellerAmp, you use Jungle Scout, you put in like clothing and then the rank, and they'll also give you a number. I think SellerAmp is basically the same. It's just a count on the rank,
Yep.
to my knowledge. The other one is if it's a vitamin and it's like there's a 3-pack, a 2-pack, and a 1-pack, I only use the reviews. That's basically it. And usually there is, in my experience, in general, one that basically dominates. One that's like 90% or 75%. It's usually not across all three, on like a vitamin. Sometimes sometimes I guess it can be, but usually there is one that people always push to. Like it might be the 1 ball is for $20, but 3 balls is for 40. Well, most people at that point say, I'm not going to pay 60 for 3 bottles. So that basically, my answer is only the reviews at that point.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of those like couple variation listings you're gonna see will the price will just make sense to why that one sells the most or has the most reviews. Like you said, I've seen it where a 1-pack is sitting at $30 and a 2-pack is at $100. Okay, well the 1-pack is selling way more often. Has 80% of the reviews compared to the 2-pack has 20%, just because the price just makes sense. So looking at that too, understanding what consumers are wanting. But for related to shoes or clothing, I would have to say the reviews definitely, you're going to know those sizes that are most commonly sold, like the size, 8 to 12 for men, and 7 to 10 for women. And the blacks, the white, the neutral colors usually sell the quickest. But use the data tab and the Keepa charts and SellerAmp to really guide you into that, whether or not that variation is good. And again, the lower the rank, the deeper you can kind of go in those variations. But just use the data tab to confirm some of those sales. And if all else fails and you're still on the borderline, just buy a test buy of you can go as low as 2 items, you can go as high as 10 items, whatever you're comfortable with, depending on how expensive the item is. And then come back to it when they sell and see, did your purchase go the way you expected? And hopefully that helps you build some confidence in looking at those variations in the future.
Yeah, if you're a true new beginner and you're limited bankroll, buy 1 or 2 and just start learning the variations, because I always say with clothing and apparel, I'm basically 50% ROI. If it's an OA item and it's not 50% ROI, I don't touch it, because I bought so many at I'll take vitamins 22%. I'll take grocery 20% or whatever, because it's non-returnable and I'm very comfortable with this. But I'm not touching clothes. I bought so many at like the 25, 30%, even though it moves fast. By the time it gets to Amazon, it's 10%. And then I get 2 returns out of the 10, and then it's like,
then you're basically breaking even.
Yeah. And it's the loss of time and the loss of time with that capital where I could have rolled it over. I think the future of Amazon, is my opinion. And by the way, if you listen to their stock call, they're saying people are going for cheaper goods and people are going for like grocery, beauty, things like that. And I think if that's what Amazon says, we should kind of listen to them as sellers. And I've sold $100 pair of like 5-year-old shoes. I think people will, as I truly believe, will have a little bit of issue with the economy, and those type of sales, you have to find those items on a fire rank. It's got to be like sub 10K. People will still buy them back to school. People will still buy them for Christmas, but I'm not buying a Nike hoodie in May. I'm not buying an $80 Nike hoodie for sure in May. So this is my opinion. People will still have success with those items, but me personally, I'm not touching them. But yeah, Amazon on their stock call was like, we're seeing buyers move towards cheaper beauty, grocery, household needs items.
Interesting.
So
yeah, maybe that's like a good thing to get away from like some of the more luxury brands. Like those are less of they're focused more on the necessities and less on the wants.
Again, if it's an expensive brand and it's sub 5K, you can still make money with it. But I'm not touching it. I used to touch clothes, higher than 50K. When it's higher than 50K, that's when you can see the elevated seller count just go like straight up. And those items you're either holding it forever or you've got to be the first to get in. And that's my advice. I'm moving more away. But if I see a pair of shoes, 50% ROI, and it's a great rank, I am still nabbing them,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just a supply and demand issue. If you have a certain amount of demand, which is the rank, and you get another 50 sellers on it, and the price starts to drop, well, obviously, people aren't selling as quick as they thought they would because the demand didn't increase when the seller count increased. And then, they have to drop their price to hopefully trigger more sales, because that's everybody's, thought normally is, oh, I'll drop my price and I'll get more sales. Not always the case, but, that's what a lot of people think. And then all of a sudden the listing starts to tank because of that oversupply and the demand didn't change.
Yeah, I want to say something. I watched your Walgreens video, and it's a great video. I recommend everybody watch it. But it's funny because I source Walgreens too, and I found the exact same items and was like, oh, these look good. And it's funny. So it kind of shows like some of these sites are very overly sourced. And if it's above a 50K rank, like I literally saw the same BB lotion. It was like, oh, I don't remember, was it a 2-pack or a 3-pack? Sure. And as sellers, I think we have to kind of just be aware that a lot of people are finding the same items on those sites. So we need to more coupon them or things like that. And Walgreens is still very, very profitable, but I'm looking for items that move faster. And, it's almost like you got to do that extra step of being clever. And Walgreens is very common for that elevated count that everybody finds, at least in my experience. You just see that go right up. And if it's not a great ranked item, on a great ranked sub 10K, you see like it doesn't go up because there's so much supply and demand that it doesn't get this. Yeah. But on, you just see 10, 15, and then back down to 10. And, it can absorb the new sellers. Anything above around that range, I don't know, 50, 100K, it can't absorb them. And then you see this, and then the price go boom.
Just falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So it actually goes into another question that somebody asked was, I'm not able to find products cheap enough. I've been sourcing for a long time and haven't found, every product I find just doesn't quite meet my criteria for, ROI and profit. How can I fix this, or how can I find better products? You stated it right away, which was, you have to build some sort of moat. You have to find coupons. You have to, use cashback. You have to use gift cards, whatever you can to get that price lower than the average buyer, right? If you find a seller that's, only using the 20% off site wide, that's great and all. But if you have, Walgreens points to apply to your cart, if you have, an extra 15% to a specific category that you can stack on top of the 20% off site wide, like the sites that you can find where you stack coupons are going to be really important. And then again, finding, like sites like Kohl's and Dick's Sporting Goods and all these, a couple other, Sephora, Ulta, they all have like rewards points systems where you spend a certain amount of money, you get a $10 off, discount for your next purchase. And you can always apply that to your cart. And, even a dollar off each product is going to give you a little bit more of a moat for purchasing those products. So the first thing I would recommend, and I'm sure there's a lot more that maybe you could talk about too, Bill, but like just find, you doing the due diligence to either, straight up Google, discounts for this specific website that you're looking at, and then sometimes websites will actually have a specific page on their website for couponing, like Walgreens or Foot Locker. You can just type in Foot Locker discounts, and they have a whole page on their website where they just list all of the current available discounts. So you can start with that. Or a lot of times, like a Rakuten or a Capital One Shopping Chrome extension will ask you if you want to automatically apply any available discounts to your cart, and then you don't have to go manually searching for the coupon codes. They just check each one and see which one gets you the cheapest price.
Well, there's a couple options there. You could modify it. I don't know that person's parameters, but if that person's parameters is $5 profit, 35% ROI, they're going to have to lower them, very likely. Two, the catch-all, try to use, when you sign up, you can get like the best coupon. You can lower your parameters a little bit to maybe 25% ROI and look for those high velocity. I want to be really honest. I've been gun shy lately because I've had a lot of products tank. So I've been like looking for those sweeter ones that I can, instead of buying 10 of 5 listings, I want to buy 50 of one because I'm familiar with it. There's a lot of products that I think as sellers, you get used to it, they go out of stock. And those products are great. And what I do every single day, maybe twice a day, is I'm reloading that page because they go out of stock quick. And I want to be the guy who loads my cart 3 or 4 times, So that is I've sold hundreds of units of 2 ASINs in the last probably 3 months, and it's constantly out of stock. But I'm going the extra mile of checking when it's out of stock. The reward points are great. The Walgreens does have a lot of coupons. You can go the extra mile, like spend 30, get $10. For a new seller, you just have to, it's enough up at bats. You have to get used to it. You have to kind of, you're looking, I've been shifting a lot back to RA because I have a couple stores around here and I can get home runs in RA. And it's not too much of a headache because let's say this Nike shirt is only, there's only 2 at every Kohl's. Well, that's much less than I can buy 36 of this vitamin, and so can Alex, and so can 50 other people.
Yep.
And like I said, you just have to get used to it. You got to do the combo, use credit card points, use Rakuten, look for the best coupons. Like I don't know about this week, but Walgreens, it's a very commonly sourced site. It's 15% off. So I think it's this week. 2 weeks ago, they had 25% off. So I was just basically sitting there for 3 hours, that 25% off sale, and finding a lot of products that I couldn't, the profit isn't there at 15, but it's definitely there at 25. So sometimes you just have to kind of like, for me, wait till you have the shot, wait till you get the really good discounts. Nike has a great one this week too, the 20% off. And then I'm looking for an already discounted item. So it's 100, it's marked down to 70. Now I'm going to get it for 20% off. And I'm really going to find, has to have a lot of times I'll source for hours and only buy 1 or 2 products, but I'm comfortable. It's been hard lately, but I also implement different strategies. I find my best products. I find the few people who are on those listings and reverse source all their stores. And a lot of times you'll find good products. I've listed a lot on my, not to plug the YouTube channel again, but there are definitely products out there. Find some new stores. I was checking out, I didn't buy anything, but Running Warehouse seemed really cheap. I've never sourced from there before. I don't know the quality, but it seemed to be, it was like one of those like 90s crappy looking sites. But if you use a credit card or PayPal, if it's messed up, you do a chargeback. You say, you got to return me. And if you have any of a pain of they're not going to return you, it's really simple. I'm going to file a claim. And so you're at a loss for the time, but if it works, you find a new site that maybe nobody's sourcing. And there were some really, so Amazon is going that extra mile, going the thing that someone that a lot of people aren't doing. Like if everyone's going to Walgreens, let me try Rite Aid, let me try sites. I think there's something called Similar Web where you can enter a website and they'll spit you out a bunch of sites that are similar. Or if you have a great item on Walgreens, let me look everywhere else possible. Googling it, looking for ones like Vitacost usually has once every 2 months has crazy good sales, but the rest of the time it's like so you gotta wait till that crazy good one and then just really be willing to go deep, and that's only going to come with experience.
And one thing I can add to that, what you just said there about waiting for these sales to happen, I actually have with SellerAmp, I have a Google Sheet specifically for items that just need a discount, right? So I have need coupon, and then I'm putting the ones that the chart looks great. Like, man, if I had this for 10% cheaper, it would be an instant buy for me. So yeah, if you just know when sites are running certain discounts, and you have a list of products when, man, all I need is a 10% catch-all, or all I need is a 15% off site wide, and I would be able to buy this. You can at least, if you have the list of products that you can apply that to, that's only gonna give you some sort of base to be able to buy a bunch of product.
I don't even do that with the Google Sheet. So if I'm not doing it and Alex is doing it, he has an instant upper hand on me, and lots of other people are. So I just learned something new here to kind of say, and like there's a lot of products on Walgreens they used to do, I haven't seen it lately, 33%, so buy 2 get 1 free lotion.
Yep.
Then they do it like, I think the 20% still works. Well, those products, that's where I'm going to pull the trigger on a lot of stuff, because it only lasts for 1 week, and then for probably 3 months those items aren't profitable. So I'm going to load the cart up and use every account I have and just so that's where I think, like I said, I think that where a lot of online arbitrage is going, for me at least. And like I said, I've just had so many products tank. I'm being very careful, but you still got that bankroll. It still has to move. So.
Yep. And one more thing to add to that. So like, just for like the newer sellers listening to this, like, I mean, you and me both, we do have times where it's just like hard to source. We're not finding a lot of deals or, products to actually purchase just because it's just not the right time or it doesn't look right. So definitely don't be getting discouraged if you're, sourcing for 5 hours and not finding any products. Like, man, I just put all this time in, didn't find anything. Like, I still have those days. It doesn't happen as often because I'm, been sourcing for 2 years now. I'm sure same with you, but every once in a while, you're sourcing for a day and you're like, man, there's just nothing going right now, or I need to switch categories, or I need to take a break, like whatever it is. We still have those days. So definitely part of the game. It's just part of it.
And then there's always an option, go do some RA, because if you go into Kohl's and they have the 50% off clearance sale, it is literally impossible not to walk out with something. I will put that on anything. I'll put my hand on a Bible now. It is impossible. And then you're like, wow, I found this brand. I never had these before, or you can go maybe on the website and it's the same price. You can go into Walmart and you're like, wow, I never, this toy is really profitable. It's on clearance. And then you go on Target and they matched it or something like that.
Yep.
So speed round. Let's go.
Speed round. All right. I got a couple questions. I'm just going to fire them off. Bill's going to throw out the best answer for them. So first one, my items aren't selling. They've been listed for a week and I haven't gotten any sales. What can I do?
You're going to have to wait longer than a week. I don't know if you're referring to FBA or merchant fulfilled. You can lower your price. You can make sure you're matching the buy box price, but this could take longer than a week. It's going to take time to get to the warehouse, and then they're going to ship them countrywide. So 2 items might be in this warehouse, 2 items might be here, 2 items might be here. Always match the buy box and buy inventory that has a low sales rank, a great keep a chart.
Yep. And if you are doing all those things and it's still not working, maybe you want to consider a repricer. Sure. If you're at that stage, don't get a repricer if you haven't sold anything yet. But if you have been getting sales and you want to, really match that buy box all the time, a repricer is going to do it every, 15 to 30 minutes. When if you're just manually repricing, you might be able to only reprice 1 to 2 times a day. Might help kickstart the sales. Next question, how do you deal with Amazon returns? I have a pile that keeps building up of some of my returns that were unfulfillable. What are some options I can do with them?
I put them in a big pile and burn them. No, eBay and Mercari, if there's something else, you could give them to a friend. You can donate them. If you donate them, put them in Inventory Lab. You can deduct the costs. Don't quote me, I'm not an accountant, but I believe that's, market. I donate these. I gave them to a charity. I gave them to a thrift store. And that's what I do. You could give them to a friend. You could, if they're like shoes and stuff, I sell them on Mercari. I take a little loss and I move on with my life.
Yep. Yeah. You want to, if you can get money back on them, cool. If
Sure.
you can't, do what you can, donate them, whatever you said to help, with your tax situation, and then on to the next product. Keep moving. Don't spend too much time on returns, because again, that's low ROI activity, and you want to spend the most of your time high ROI stuff.
Yeah, and it should not be a big issue. You know what I mean? I get returned, something ends up damaged, and I try. Facebook Marketplace is great depending on the item. That's another one where you can get close to the cost. You get cash.
And last question, I got a bad review. That wasn't my fault. Amazon didn't ship the product in time, and for some reason they reviewed my account saying that I didn't ship the product on time. Is there anything I can do about this?
You're going to go, I believe, to performance feedback, and you're going to click remove feedback, and if it fits if it's the exact story you're telling me, it's going to be removed. They're going to strike it through and it won't affect it. You could always also, a lot of times where even if they mess up and I get a bad review, or it's something a little bit I mixed something up, I refund them and move on with my life. I say, you keep the product. I'm sorry for the mistake. Here's a refund, and Amazon will strike it through anyway. So I didn't even need to do that, but I do it because it's the right thing to do. And you just don't, you know what I mean? I've had them strike through feedback. I'll still reach out and say, customer service is really important to me. I'm going to give you a full refund. I want you to keep the product. And I move on with my life. You know what I mean? The little hiccups I don't let bug me. And it's all part of selling on Amazon. You're not going to be able to sell, a few $100,000 and not have some returns, some bad feedback, and those types of things. You just move on, and it should not be a big issue.
Exactly. All part of the game. Well, that is all we have for our Q&A session here. Bill, thanks for being on the channel here. It's been a lot of fun. Again, how can people find, your content or your channel, and what do you post on there?
It's on YouTube, Bill Flipper. I'm on Instagram, BILL_Flipper. I'm hoping Alex will have the links in the video below, and that's everything. I post a lot. We do reverse sourcing. We talk about Amazon, and that's it. I really had a great time. Alex puts out a lot of great content. I reached out to him because I really enjoyed the YouTube videos. So big things to come.
Yeah, hopefully you guys got some value out of these questions from some experienced sellers. If you did, subscribe to both our channels, and I'll see you in the next video.
All right. Thank you very, very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.